It's 3 a.m. You are physically drained. Your body feels heavy, sinking into the mattress. But your mind is running a marathon. You aren't thinking about trivial things. You're stressing about tomorrow's deadlines, unpaid bills, or the sheer pressure of the week ahead. And then you start doing the sleep math. You look at the clock and think, if I fall asleep right this second, I will get exactly 3 hours and 12 minutes of sleep. The harder you try to force it, the more awake you feel. Now, I want you to imagine a completely different scenario. Imagine a pilot during World War II. He is sitting upright in a cramped, freezing cockpit. The engine is roaring inches from his face. His adrenaline is spiking because he knows that in a few hours, he might not be coming back. And yet, despite the noise, the caffeine, and the fear of death, within exactly 120 seconds, he is asleep. This isn't a meditation app. This isn't about drinking chamomile tea. This is a tactical survival skill. We are talking about a combat-proven protocol developed by the U.S. Navy to force the human nervous system to shut down on command. If you are tired of staring at the ceiling, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to teach you the exact manual used by elite service members, a method with a reported 96% success rate designed to work in the worst possible conditions. If it works in a war zone, I promise you, it will work in your bedroom. In this video, we are going to hack your body's off switch. We'll break down the biology, the specific muscle sequence, and the 10-second mental trick that stops overthinking dead in its tracks. But to really master this protocol, you first have to understand the deadly crisis that birthed it. This wasn't created in a sleep lab. It was forged in a cockpit, where falling asleep meant the difference between life and death. To understand why this works, we have to go back to 1943. The world was at war, and the U.S. Navy was facing a crisis. They had the best planes and the best pilots, but they were losing men at an alarming rate. And it wasn't just because of enemy fire. They were losing pilots to fatigue. The stress of combat was so intense that pilots were suffering from operational exhaustion. They were making fatal errors, shooting at friendly forces or crashing their planes on the way back to the carrier simply because they were too exhausted to focus. They were living in a permanent state of fight or flight, unable to power down even when they were safe in their bunks. So the military did something unexpected. They didn't bring in a doctor. They didn't bring in a psychiatrist. They brought in a legendary track coach named Lloyd "Bud" Winter. His mission was impossible: teach elite pilots to go from full alert to deep sleep in under 2 minutes, day or night, sitting in a chair, even with the sound of cannons firing in the background. Bud Winter knew something that most people get wrong about sleep. He realized that you can't will yourself to sleep. That's a losing battle. Think about it. How many times have you laid in bed shouting at your own brain to just shut up and sleep? It never works. Winter discovered that sleep isn't a mental decision. It follows a physical state. When you are stressed, your sympathetic nervous system is firing on all cylinders. Your muscles are tense, your heart rate is up, and your brain is scanning for threats. This is biology. Your body thinks there is a bear chasing you, so it refuses to let you sleep. The military sleep method is essentially a biological hack. By systematically removing tension from specific muscle groups in a very specific order, you send a physical signal back to your brain that says, the body is safe, the bear is gone, stand down. Once the body truly lets go, the brain has no choice but to follow. And the results were undeniable. After 6 weeks of training, 96% of the pilots could fall asleep in 120 seconds or less. They could do it after drinking coffee. They could do it during simulated gunfire. So, what is the sequence? The secret isn't in the brain. Not yet. It starts with a physical shutdown process that most people get completely wrong. The objective here is to shut down your body floor by floor, like turning off the lights in a large building before you lock up for the night. The entire process should take about 90 seconds, and the secret isn't just to relax, it is to feel heavy. It all starts with the face. This is where most people fail without realizing it. You have 43 different muscles in your face, and your brain uses them to signal your emotional state. If your forehead is furrowed or your jaw is tight, your brain thinks you are in a stressful situation. So, close your eyes. I want you to consciously release your forehead. Smooth it out. Relax the tiny muscles deep inside your eye sockets. Let your eyes settle. Drop your jaw. Open your mouth slightly if you need to. And here is the pilot's secret. Relax your tongue. Most of us walk around with our tongue pressed against the roof of our mouth. Let it fall. Let it float in the bottom of your mouth. The moment you do that, you are physically signaling to your brain that you are done speaking and therefore done thinking. Next, we move to the shoulders. Drop them low, lower than you think is possible. Imagine they are trying to touch your feet. Feel the tension releasing from the back of your neck. Now the arms. We'll do one side at a time. Start with your dominant side. Relax the bicep, then the forearm, then the hand and fingers. They should feel like dead weight, like a heavy sandbag resting on the mattress. If you can't get them to relax, squeeze your fist as hard as you can for 5 seconds, and then suddenly let go. That contrast will help you find the release. Repeat this with the other arm. Now, the torso. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, simply let it go. Visualize all the tension leaving your chest. You aren't holding yourself up anymore. The bed is holding you. Finally, we go to the legs. Start with your right thigh. Let it sink. Move down to the calf, the ankle, and the foot. Then do the same with the left leg. Imagine a warm, heavy sensation flowing from your head all the way down to your toes. At this point, you are physically primed for sleep. Your muscles are deactivated. You are essentially a limp noodle. But if you stop here, you will fail. Your body is off, but your mind is still buzzing. It's trying to remind you about that email you forgot to send. This is the critical 10 seconds. And unless you execute the final mental hack, your body will wake right back up. This is the trap where 90% of people lose the battle. Your body is now heavy, loose, and completely relaxed. But your brain is a problem-solving machine. It hates a vacuum. If you just try to think about nothing, your brain will immediately fill that silence with noise. It will start planning your grocery list or replaying an argument. You have to occupy your mind with something static, something that requires zero analysis. The Navy protocol offers 2 specific visualizations. You need to pick one, and you need to hold it for at least 10 seconds. Scenario number 1, the canoe. I want you to imagine you are lying on your back in a canoe on a calm, still lake. There is nothing above you but a clear, blue sky. The water is like glass, no waves, no sound. You are simply looking up into the blue. Hold that image. Focus on the details of the blue. Don't let anything else in. Scenario number 2, the black void. If visualization isn't your strong suit, or you prefer the dark, use this one. Imagine you are curled up in a giant black velvet hammock in a pitch black room. Everywhere you look, it is just black. It is warm, it is safe, and there is absolutely nothing to see. Hold that darkness. Now, let's be real. For some of you, Even with the canoe or the hammock, your brain is going to try to hijack you. A thought will try to creep in. When that happens, you need the emergency override. This is a brute force method to stop your inner monologue. I want you to repeat the following phrase in your head over and over without stopping for 10 seconds. Don't think, don't think, don't think, don't think. Say it fast, say it aggressively in your mind. You are essentially jamming the signal. You are creating static noise so that no other thoughts can form. So the formula is simple. 1. Shut down the body muscles. 2. Visualize the canoe or the darkness. 3. If the brain fights back, use the don't think mantra. If you do this right, the next thing you will know is your alarm clock going off in the morning. But before you try this tonight, there is one final catch, a hidden variable that separates the 96% who succeed from the 4% who quit. Remember that 96% success rate I mentioned at the beginning? Here's the part of the story most people leave out. Those pilots didn't hit that number on their first night. According to the original data, it took them 6 weeks of consistent practice to reach that level of mastery. Why? Because this isn't magic, it is conditioning. You are essentially training your brain like a puppy. Right now, your brain associates your bed with stress, scrolling on your phone and worrying about bills. You need to rewire that connection. When you go through this sequence, face, shoulders, legs, canoe, you are building a neural pathway. At first, it will feel mechanical. You might lie there feeling like a weirdo trying to relax your tongue. But if you stick with it, something clicks. Eventually, your brain recognizes the pattern. As soon as you drop your shoulders, your brain says, "Oh, I know this routine. This is the part where we shut down." So, here's my advice and the key takeaway from this entire video. Do not judge this method by tonight's results. Even if you don't fall asleep in 120 seconds tonight, simply going through the physical relaxation will drastically improve the quality of the rest you do get. You will wake up feeling better. That alone is a win. Just do me a favor, to give yourself a fighting chance. Try to put the phone away 15 minutes before you start. Blue light is the enemy of melatonin, and you don't want to fight a chemical battle while you're trying to relax. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a performance tool. The US military spent millions figuring this out because they know that a soldier who can't sleep is a soldier who can't function. And in your own life, whether you're fighting battles in the boardroom or just trying to get through the week, you need your batteries at 100%. So, here is your challenge tonight. When your head hits that pillow, don't pick up the phone. Scan the body, drop the shoulders, and get in the canoe. And if the thoughts come, don't think, don't think. If you found value in this, or if you want us to dive deeper into the neuroscience of productivity, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And let me know in the comments below. Are you Team Canoe or Team Black Hammock? This is Psyche Decoded. I'll see you in the next one. Sleep tight.